You're listening to Interactive Wrestling Radio, featuring the Interactive Interview, courtesy of WrestlingEpicenter.com. Welcome back to Interactive Wrestling Radio. Joining us on the Newsmaker line right now is a lady who will be appearing for Phoenix Championship Wrestling live on Broadway, and somebody I recently saw on Ring of Honor, heard announced from Arizona, and thought, I need to hear more about this person. Little did I know I'd be interviewing her in a couple weeks. Of course, I'm speaking of Zamaya. It's a pleasure to speak with you today, ma'am.
Hi, it's a pleasure to speak to you, too. Thank you for having me.
All right, and we'll talk a little bit about that Ring of Honor experience as well as we go along. But I guess first things first, being a local guy, what was the first thing that attracted you to professional wrestling?
As cliche as it sounds, I've been a fan since I was a kid. The first person to introduce me to wrestling was actually my dad. He was always watching it when I was growing up, so naturally I just started watching the TV too, and I became such a big fan. And me being a fan just never left as I got older, so...
Very cool. And like I said, I'm a local guy. I'm in Arizona. I'm in Mesa, in fact. And I moved here from New Jersey. And in New Jersey, independent wrestling is everywhere. And you can't avoid it just across the river from Madison Square Garden. So you see, the WWE there, several times a year. Arizona was a different cup of coffee when I first got here. There was not as much wrestling. There seems to be a growing number, though. Being in Arizona, was it more difficult to find your foothold into the professional wrestling world?
Yeah. I started looking around when I was around 18, and I noticed that there wasn't a lot. I looked up schools, and there was only 2 schools. So I kind of just messaged both schools, and luckily the Arizona Professional Wrestling Training Center reached back out to me, and yeah.
I'm a little late to the party when it comes to knowing about those guys, but man, I'm so excited to hear of them. I just spoke to one of the trainers there. Of course, I've been talking to Dom, which is how this interview got set up. But their training seminar seems to be really thorough when it comes to professional wrestling. Was it difficult to kind of figure out what they were going for when you first started training, and was it what you expected it to be?
I think that it was not exactly how I expected it to be. It was definitely a lot tougher. I think a lot of people think that being a wrestler is pretty easy because we watch it on TV. But luckily for me, I actually wrestled in high school. So it was a lot easier of a transition to than probably other people have, just because I was already doing that sort of conditioning. And it also set the mindset of I need to make things happen. So it was pretty easy for me to reach the limit of being tired and being able to get past that. And I also like just a competitive environment and people that push you, and that's exactly where I ended up. So I was lucky. Very cool. And one of the first things that jumps out when I first saw you was the look. The look is definitely, it's unique, but it's also got some roots, and I think you maybe had some influences from some prior faces that we might have seen over the years. Maybe Bull Nakano comes to mind. But where did the idea to adopt such a unique and standout look come from? Well, Bull Nakano is a badass. I don't know if I can cuss on here, but
you can curse. That's fine.
She's just someone that has inspired me so much, and along with Luna Vachon, and just people with that sort of aura, they just present themselves in such a dominating way, and I took inspo from them heavily. And I wasn't sure. A lot of people make fun of me at the school just because my first match I had pigtails, and it's just a complete switch now. I think that I just adapted some sort of confidence that was there and I kind of showed it through the look of Bull Nakano. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, because it seems like you're a real nice and kind of mellow person, but that's certainly not the person that we see when the bell rings. That's for sure.
Yeah. The bell rings and the attitude switches.
There you go. And Bull Nakano, of course, big star, WWE Hall of Famer now. She probably had her best stuff, if I dare say so, in Japan. And she's trying to do like a Joshi promotion in the United States. I think it's, my pronunciation might be off, but it's Sukiban. What do you think of them trying to do that kind of style in the United States? And is that something you would want to work for?
Oh, as soon as they announced it, I was so excited. I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. I'm really happy that she's still involved in wrestling somehow, and I think that the fact she's created her own company now based in America is also pretty cool, meaning I'm super close to it, and I would love to be a part of it. And just the vibes that they have over there, like a lot of the talent is just like a bunch of face paint. You can tell they have worked really hard with their talent to have their own unique personalities, and that's definitely shining through Bull, so I think it's super cool. And if I got to be a part of it, that would be such a blessing. So that's what we're aiming towards.
That sounds awesome. And like I said, I was watching Ring of Honor. I saw your match with Billy Starks, and Ian Riccaboni said that you were out of Arizona, and obviously that piqued my interest. What was the experience like working for Ring of Honor and maybe in front of an AEW type crowd?
It was all that I imagined. It was really cool. It was such a cool experience because, like, 12-year-old Zamaya was watching Ring of Honor, and I'm really happy that AEW has figured out a way to keep Ring of Honor around and keep it alive, and it's given a lot of people opportunities to perform on Ring of Honor, so that's super cool. And the AEW crowd, they're pretty awesome. They're a unique crowd, that's for sure, but it was such a cool experience, and I'm just really happy that I got the chance to do it because I was aiming for it for a long time.
Very cool. This is the closest thing as I ever get to a gotcha question. I don't usually do this kind of thing. But what was the backstage environment like in AEW? Because I hear from some of the girls that when they come out of there, they didn't have a great experience. Did you see any of that, or was that not your experience there at all?
I had a really great experience. I've been invited to AEW a few times now, and each time I just have such a good time meeting talent and meeting faces like Mark Henry and Jerry Lynn, and getting able to speak to them and kind of listen in on what they're saying to learn from them. And everyone's really inviting, really nice, and it was also just pretty cool to have people react to my look on a bigger scale. So that was pretty awesome.
Awesome. A couple of years ago, right before the pandemic, a female wrestler ended up winning the Impact Wrestling World title, and that kind of put the conversation about intergender wrestling into the mainstream conversation. The pandemic kind of wiped that out. Obviously, WWE, that's probably not something they'll ever explore too much. AEW seems to be toying with it, but doesn't really go that way. What is your thoughts on intergender wrestling and girls wrestling in there against guys?
So my thought process behind that, it's just what I've been taught now. Just being able to wrestle for the past couple of years has kind of influenced how I'm thinking. I think as long as it makes sense. I don't think like a very small girl should be thrown in there with a very large guy because it just doesn't make sense. And I think where my head is at is I just want the matches and I want the wrestling to just make sense. So if we can figure out how to make it make sense, then I'm good with it. But other than that, no.
All right, very cool. I will get to the PCW Live on Broadway show in just a moment, but what is your dream opponents? When I see your style, I'm trying to see who you would mesh up with, and who would be like the dream opponent that you would love to be in the ring with?
So probably a little over a year ago, I wrestled out in Seattle at Defy,
Mm-hmm.
and Alondra Blaze punched me in my face. So
Aha.
I think that we have a little match in our hands with that. I would love to wrestle her if she ever wants to tie up her boots again. Other than that, I would love to wrestle Rhea Ripley. I'm shooting for the stars here, but Rhea Ripley, Charlotte. In the independent scene right now, I really want to wrestle Bambi Hall. She's out in Canada.
Yep, I know her.
It's her and the Hall sisters, so they're pretty dope. I would love to wrestle each of them, actually.
It's really cool that you mentioned Medusa or Alundra Blaze, because that goes right back to Bull Nakano again. Because if you think that was like the only matches that Alundra Blaze seemed to get on WWE TV for the longest time was against Bull.
Yeah, and if Bull ever wants to do anything, I would love to work with her, just because she's been such a big inspiration to me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I mentioned it. You mentioned his name already, but Jerry Lynn will be appearing for PCW AZ live on Broadway. He's doing a free meet and greet. There's a lot of other big name stars appearing there as well. But is it cool that you've been to AEW, you've been to Ring of Honor and talked to Jerry, and now Jerry's coming to your home promotion?
Yeah, that's actually really cool. I mentioned it to him when I had saw him at AEW, and it's going to be a really cool experience. I'm glad. We're actually going to be doing a seminar with our school, so that'll be fun too, and it'll just be a nice experience.
Very cool. Also appearing at that, for those listening, also appearing at that meet and greet will be Val Venus, the First Lady of Wrestling, Missy Hyatt, and TNA Wrestling's Alexander Hammerstone. So there's a lot of big name stars appearing there for the free meet and greet before the event, and of course, come for those guys and stay for the wrestling action as well. What is your thoughts as you head into July 13th's Live on Broadway big event?
Well, I'm really excited. Unfortunately, I have just suffered an injury. So
Oh, no.
I will not be in-ring action anymore, but I will be there at the merch table cheering everyone on and meeting the fans. So it will be a fun experience. There's going to be a battle royal for the number one contender spot, and battle royals are really cool, and the fans get really into it, so I'm excited to watch that go down.
Very good. You just broke a little bit of news. I did not know about your injury. What happened?
I recently had a knee injury, and it's partial tear. It's not too bad. I'm going to take about a month off and just rehab it and rest so that I don't tear it even more and have to get surgery.
Well, I hope not too. Gosh, that's scary, and wish I had known at the beginning, because I wouldn't have pushed you so hard. But I appreciate you coming and doing the interview anyway, and I hope that the knee gets better. I guess my final question for you is: what are your future goals? What's the dream? What's the final the expectation, the hope for your wrestling career? I won't ask for your 5-year plan. I'm not going to ask that.
5-year plan.
No.
No, so I think a lot of people, I'm in a weird spot right now with my career. I feel like I can go either direction. My current goal is to just get better with knowing exactly who I am all the way around, and using that to drive me to places I haven't been before. I want to wrestle in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
I want a WWE tryout. I want to get to the next level of where I'm at, and I believe those are some levels that I haven't experienced that will teach me so much more and help me elevate my career and also who Zamaya is. I just want the world to figure out who Zamaya is, so I need to get as much eyes on me as possible.
That sounds great, and I wish you the best of luck and a speedy recovery from the injury. If I do run across you at the event, as I say, I'm going to be there as a fan. I'm bringing the whole family along, and I'll make sure and shake your hand. And thank you for taking the time and doing this with me this afternoon. I should say.
Thank you for having me. This is so cool, and bring the family by so I can say hi to all.
This is Interactive Wrestling Radio.
Interactive Wrestling Radio. Interactive Wrestling Radio. Interactive Wrestling Radio. Interactive Wrestling Radio. Interactive Wrestling Radio. Interactive Wrestling Radio. Oh, Rush.
Featuring the interactive interview.
Interactive interview. Interactive interview. Interactive interview. Interactive interview. Interactive interview. Interactive interview. Oh, yeah.
Formerly The Blaze.
The Blaze. The Blaze. The Blaze. The Blaze. The Blaze. The Blaze. The Blaze. The Blaze. The Blaze. The Blaze rock.
You maniacs, so what you gonna do when the Blaze of Mania runs wild on you?
On WrestlingEpicenter.com.
Wrestling Epicenter.
Wrestling
Epicenter. Wrestling
Epicenter.
Wrestling Epicenter.
Wrestling Epicenter. The Wrestling Epicenter. Don't get off.
And now we shamelessly name drop from our history.
The Wrestling Epicenter would like to apologize for the following.
All right, everybody. Viva la raza. Viva la raza.
Hey, y'all.
Hello, ladies.
Hey, guys. We had a lovely conversation. First lady. Absolutely. Oh, look at me. She's so kooky.
Be there. Where else?
Interactive Wrestling Radio. Wrestling
Epicenter.
Oh, my God. You win. Wow. Being interactive.
Whoa. I just got some mustache. I was going to shoot him. Yeah, I almost pissed my pants. Breaking neck. I got 2 words for you. I've heard a lot about you guys. I see my language. You're going to go to the shop. I see him now. We're into the many.
No nerves.
That was great. It's going to be cool. Woo. What it's all about. The purest point of view. The living legend. Rock and roll. Arrogant.
You just make me.
Instead of statement, I'm talking to you.
So lonely without you.
In the land of extreme.
Testify. Nevermore. Interactive interview. I'm not just the best. Interactive interview with a plastic
You
head.
earned the right.
Nobody. You better keep listening. Thank you very much. Controversy creates cash. Professional wrestling.
Made in the USA, baby.
Memphis wrestling. The guy on fire.
We were sexy.
What a show.
One and only.
Interactive Wrestling Radio.
Wrestling
Epicenter. Interactive interview. We took care of the business and ballet. We are huge with this whole. You're where it's at. You gotta recognize who's the best. Make sure to tune in each and every week. I'll come out of your computer. Knock down your door and turn it on for you. Or else I'm gonna kick your stinking teeth in. And that's the bottom line. Have a nice day. It's showtime.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.